Our top story tonight, a debate over a new policy in Virginia's prisons.
Starting next month, tampons will be banned. 13 News Now reporter Chanuher has the story.
Yeah, David and Regina, starting next month, female visitors won't be allowed to visit loved ones in prison if they're wearing a tampon. Now, the DOC says it's about safety, but the ACLU is calling this dehumanizing. Starting next month, the Virginia Department of Corrections is putting into place a ban that has the ACLU getting involved, calling it unacceptable. The ban is on tampons. Female visitors will no longer be allowed to wear them when seeing someone who is in a state prison. The DOC says it's about safety, not allowing people to sneak contraband inside.
It's dehumanizing for the people that are involved. It robs them of their dignity, and it's something that should not be implemented in the absence of some clear evidence of individual, wrongdoing or suspicion.
Facilities would offer pads to women who are wearing tampons while visiting a person in prison, so the tampons don't appear as possible contraband on a body scan, according to the policy. Claire Guthrie-Gastanaga is the executive director of the ACLU of Virginia, and she calls this a blanket policy that doesn't make sense.
We've called on the director to overturn that policy and to instruct his wards that that is not the policy to be applied.
In a statement, a DOC spokesperson said, quote, "There have been many instances in which visitors have attempted to smuggle drugs into our prisons by concealing those drugs in a body cavity. We know that people who have loved ones in Virginia prisons don't want visitors to be able to smuggle in lethal drugs, putting their loved ones' lives in danger."
He needs to revise the policy and focus on real safety and look at it as an individualized examination as opposed to a blanket policy applying to every person who has this natural monthly occurrence.
Now, if you'd like to read the entire statement from the Department of Corrections, we have that on our website, 13newsnow.com. Chanuher, 13 News Now.
New tonight, a local connection in the case of a murder aboard a fishing boat. Federal investigators say an illegal immigrant from Mexico was arrested. Franklin Vasquez is charged with murdering a crew member on board the Captain Billy Haver, a fishing boat based in Seaford. Vasquez allegedly assaulted his fellow crew members with a hammer and a knife. One died, 2 others were wounded. The attack happened yesterday off the coast of Massachusetts. According to court documents, Vasquez was also arrested earlier this year in Newport News for abduction and intimidation.
A Portsmouth police officer is charged with drinking and driving. According to court documents, Officer Eric Rogers was pulled over at Victory and Cavalier Boulevards on Sunday, September 16th around 2 a.m. Rogers admitted at the scene that he drank 2 large beers. He passed a field sobriety test but failed a breathalyzer. He was .05 over the legal limit. Rogers was charged for driving under the influence. He has been an officer with the Portsmouth Police Department for the past 5 years. We are still working to find out his current status with the department.
Well, tomorrow, Bill Cosby is expected to find out how much time he'll serve on an assault conviction. Prosecutors are asking a judge to sentence Cosby to 5 to 10 years. The DA says the sentence should send the message that nobody's above the law. Cosby's lawyers are trying to keep the disgraced comedian out of prison, calling it an excessive hardship. Cosby is 81. He could get up to 30 years in prison for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman.
It's one of the busiest intersections in Virginia Beach, but work is underway to smooth things out for drivers at Indian River Road and Kempsville Road. You may have noticed there are temporary traffic signals up now. Reporter Megan Perrier explains why the work will be worth the wait.
City officials say if your commute has anything to do with the intersection of Indian River Road and Kempsville Road, things are about to change. Green, yellow, red. That's a little too elementary for Virginia Beach officials.
This is a unique intersection design project. I think it may be one of the only kind in the country.
City engineer Phil Poland says over 106,000 cars go through the intersection of Indian River Road and Kempsville Road each day.
It's one of the most congested intersections in the city. We had to do something to relieve congestion on all 4 legs. And this design is the best design we think that will work for the minimal amount of money.
$23 million project is already in the works, and Poland says the hybrid continuous flow model will minimize traffic. Temporary lights were placed over the weekend, and cones line the way.
We're going to stop at a signal before the main signal, and you're going to have a diversion over to the left in an isolated lane.
That means drivers will have a specialized area to make left-hand turns, and the goal is for it to be easy on everyone.
Safety is our utmost concern, not just for the motoring public, but for the pedestrians and cyclists.
Because the intersection is always so congested, Julie Hill says it's a main priority.
It's a frustrating intersection to navigate. So that's one of the reasons why they're really looking to move this project along.
Hill says patience is something everyone will need during the construction process.
They want to make sure that the construction design at least tries to minimize some of the impacts inevitably that some of this construction is going to have on the adjacent area.
The $3 million project is set to be completed by 2020, and officials say most of the construction will be done throughout the night. In Virginia Beach, I'm Megan Purrier, 13 News Now.
Improvements are also planned along Nimmo Parkway in Virginia Beach. The project is focused on connecting the parkway to Sandbridge Road. The goal is to give people more ways to get out of Sandbridge when it floods. The price tag for the project is about $32 million. It should be done by 2030. An informational meeting is planned in case you want to learn more about this. It is Wednesday from 5:30 to 7:30 at Three Oaks Elementary School.
New tonight, the city of Portsmouth is working to boost internet access throughout the community. During the summer, construction began on a 55-mile fiber cable network. 13 News Now reporter Evan Watson joins us with the latest on efforts to cut the digital divide.
Right now, the discussion is how City Council will pay for the connection, but Portsmouth is all in on the idea of building its own fiber network. Many cities across the country are also all in, trying to enhance connectivity, and Portsmouth council members see the city as a conduit, not just for the city, but for Hampton Roads as well.
In Portsmouth, the debate isn't if City Council should pay for 55 miles of fiber cable lines, it's how.
The city is always free to say, no, we'll just pay the $8 million.
City Council is working to fund the 5-year project that started this year. If possible, some council members want to fund the fiber lines independently without the help of a company. This would keep control in-house.
Provide bandwidth to our municipal operations without having to go through a carrier.
As council members looked at an example of a new fiber line, Chief Information Officer Daniel Jones explained why this is important.
Broadband connectivity is what electricity was at the turn of the century.
He says businesses are looking for connection, not location, and internet users benefit from a more connected city.
Our aspirations behind this is to bring carriers into the city for competition. Most residents now, it's a Verizon or a Cox.
The project could be completed by 2022. Portsmouth would control the fiber lines, creating revenue and enticing other internet service providers to join the mix of options. Jones says it would boost connectivity throughout Hampton Roads as a region. Plus, these new lines would offer new options to the people in the city who need them the most.
Reaching areas that isn't currently covered, but it's also reaching areas that are unserved and underserved.
Currently, Portsmouth has allocated more than $3.5 million to the project. That means the city needs to fund about $5 million more in construction costs over the next 4 years. The City Council is exploring public-private partnership options, but tonight the mayor and some council members said they'd prefer to keep full control of the fiber lines in-house if possible. In studio, Evan Watson, 13 News Now.
Tonight, the Virginia Aquarium is mourning the death of one of its harbor seals. We're told regulars at the aquarium would know that Peter had a speckled side and would bark on cue. He was 32, and workers say that's a long life for a seal. Peter was sick over the summer and his condition worsened in recent months. The seal was euthanized this morning.
Plan to install oyster cages is making waves with hundreds of people in Matthews County. The owner of Island Seafood wants to put 700 floating shellfish cages in the water near Gwynn's Island. People who live nearby have several problems with that plan, they tell us, including the view, the impact on navigation, and the safety of dolphins that swim nearby. More than 200 people have signed a petition against the proposal. They've also written hundreds of letters to the Virginia Marine Resources Commission.
It'll look like a cemetery with all the coffins that floated to the top. 1/3 of the navigable water will be gone.
We want to keep it this way for our children and our grandchildren.
We reached out to the owner of Island Seafood, but he did not respond. The VMRC will meet tomorrow morning to make a decision.
The fall cruise season kicks off this week in downtown Norfolk. The Aina Luna will be the first cruise ship to dock here this season. It arrives Wednesday morning. 2,100 passengers will be on board the German cruise ship. They'll spend the day here before the ship sets sail. The Aina Luna is the first of 18 cruise ships to visit Norfolk before the end of the year.